Hi, welcome to our presentation. My name is Ian Benz, and I'm here to talk to you about the influence of religion on elementary pre-service teachers' perceptions of science. I'm due to technical difficulties, you'll just hear my voice on this, but I did this work with Louise, Lehane, and Mark Bloom. So as we all know, evolution is a central unifying theme in biologic science. We also know it's supported by an overwhelming amount of evidence in multiple scientific fields, and sadly, it still remains one of the most socially controversial topics in the science curriculum. So just a quick overview of the Lit Review. So religious beliefs, as many of you know, is one of the main factors affecting the acceptance. Church attendance and religious affiliation are also predictors of the acceptance of evolution, and then literal interpretation of the Bible can negatively impact acceptance. And so, the research tells us this. Our theoretical framework for this comes from Nature of Science, which is the guiding framework for considering the teaching of contentious issues in biology. What is Nature of Science? It's the values and assumptions inherent to the development of scientific knowledge. And for this particular study, we're utilizing the family resemblance approach, which is a more recent conceptualization of Nos, which considers discussions around the teaching of contentious issues. So here is a brief look at the FRA model. I'll let you look at that for a moment before we move on. So what is the FRA wheel? It presents Nature of Science as a cognitive, epistemic, and social institutional system with a set of categories: aims and values, scientific methods, scientific practices, scientific knowledge, and social institutional aspects of science. Some categories can be considered more than others when speaking on the contentious issues in science. So key categories within the FRA wheel, you have scientific knowledge, which looks at the theories, laws, and models. And here the theory of evolution can be considered. The aims and values, so basing claims on sufficient and plausible data, which is relevant when looking at creationism and intelligent design. And then, of course, social values. So students as future scientists can be stifled by imposed ideological or religious constraints. So as I said already, our theoretical framework for this study considers Nature of Science, particularly the FRA model, as the guiding framework when researching pre-service teachers' belief system when considering contentious issues in science. It explores their own knowledge and aims and values. So our two research questions driving this study are: what views elementary pre-service teachers hold on the possible inclusion of creationism and intelligent design in the K-12 science curriculum, and what role does religion play in their decision? Our participants come from a public mid-Atlantic university. There were 76 elementary pre-service teachers in this particular study, and they occurred from 3 sections of elementary science methods course, all taught by the same instructor. So the course emphasized hands-on, inquiry-based approach to teaching science, included topics such as the 5E model and how to write lesson plans and teach using the 5E model, integration with English language arts, engineering design, and scientific endeavor. Our data collection was a hypothetical school board scenario developed by the first and third author, and a demographics survey based on the 2014 U.S. Religious Landscape Study by the Pew Research Center. So just briefly, the hypothetical school board scenario. Students were told that they have been, or here's the prompt. You've been elected to your local school board. There's currently a motion to alter the science curriculum in the local schools regarding their presentation of evolution. Currently, evolution is the only scientific explanation provided for the diversity of life on Earth. A growing population of concerned parents are advocating for introducing intelligent design and or creationism into the unit on evolution. They have been provided with these definitions on evolution, creationism, and intelligent design. And then we asked multiple questions. So from the hypothetical school board scenario, they were then asked to define science. And then, using their definition of science, would you vote to allow creationism to be added to the science curriculum? Why or why not? Using your definition of science, would you vote to allow intelligent design to be added to the science curriculum? Why or why not? And then write what you want to tell the rest of the school board. The other aspect of data collection comes from the demographic survey, which looked at, or what we're reporting here, the questions that we considered was the importance of religion, the views on the Bible, how often they attend religious services, and their religious affiliation. Data analysis. For this particular study, we use Atlas TI to analyze the school board scenario. We then looked at their response to if they would teach or not teach evolution, creationism, intelligent design. 88 codes emerged from this particular study, and they led to the development of general characterizations for students in each category. So first, just want to at least show this part. We're not going to focus on it too much, but these are the results from this sample on should they be included. So you can see 42.1% said add neither. So that means only teach evolution, not the other two, not creationism and intelligent design. The next largest one was if you teach evolution, you should teach both creationism and intelligent design at 34.2%. The next was if you teach evolution, you should also teach creationism at 11.8%. The fourth was teaching intelligent design, but not creationism, along with evolution at 7.9%. And then 3 students, 3.9%, said that we don't want it to be explicitly taught, or creationism, intelligent design, but they should be at least mentioned. So now we want to focus on the results from the Pew survey data that we collected. So you can see here's the importance of religion, and this is from the actual survey that was collected. Views about human evolution by importance of religion in 2014. So the breakup. And then based on our students. And so what we did is that if you look here, you see on the left side, you have very important. So these are the people who said that religion is very important to them, somewhat important, not too important, and not at all. And you can see the totals over here. We then broke that up by how did they decide, or what was their decision on teaching. And so you can see we highlighted a few of the categories, things that we kind of expected based on the research that we know and the research that's already existing, is that if students feel that religion is very important, that it's no surprise that the majority either said add both creationism and intelligent design or just creationism. Whereas in the other 3 categories, this was not too surprising that the majority said add neither when teaching evolution. One of the things we found very interesting is that of the 35 people who said religion is very important, 7 of those individuals said still add neither when it comes to intelligent design or creationism into the classroom. So we're going to kind of focus on those real quick. So here are some kind of things, or some of the things that emerged from the data. So if they said religion is very important, but they also said they don't want either creationism, intelligent design in the classroom, you can see the number of people who addressed one of these areas. And so 3 of them said creationism is based on faith. 3 of them said intelligent design is based on faith. 5 said science requires evidence. And as you can recall, there were 7, I believe. 7 students. 4 of them said science requires experiments and or testing. 3 said teachers' theological ideas are not allowed. 3 were concerned about conflict with parents. Another 3 were also concerned about conflict with students. And then 3 said controversial. When we take the look on the views on the Bible, same word or same categorization. So actual word, inspired word, ancient book, no opinion. So again, 18 of them said the Bible is actual word. And you can see the majority, when you put them together, either had add both or at least creationism. And then the others, this was not, again, too surprising based on the percentages here. But just like with the last category, we found it very interesting that 4 of the 18 who said that the Bible is the actual word of God do not want either button there into the classroom. So of that, all 4 of them said science requires evidence. 1 said it actually advocated that evolution should be removed. And so only students can decide. 2 said teachers' theological ideas should not be allowed. 2 were concerned because students don't all believe the same thing. 2 felt that there would be conflict with parents, and 3 overall controversial. So based on church attendance, again with this one, this looked at either weekly, monthly, yearly, or never. So 27 said that they attend church at least weekly. And you can see the majority of them said either add both or add creationism. Whereas the ones who attend church less often fell on the add neither category, which is what we would expect. But as with the other categories, this is the one that was more interesting to us about the add neither and what these four individuals kind of said. So these four individuals, 2 said creation is not based on faith. 3, science is not based on faith. 4, science requires evidence. 2, science is based on experiments and testing. 1 advocated or argued that the supernatural stifles scientific inquiry. 2 said teachers' theological ideas are not allowed. Evolution should be removed, but also said students should decide. Again, 1 person, and then 2 of them said it would be too controversial. So what we're looking at now is 14 participants said that religion is very important. The Bible is the actual word of God, and attend church at least once a week, which gave them a high religiosity. Of those 14, 2 individuals chose not to include creationism, intelligent design in the curriculum, and we want to kind of look at why, and this is what we're going to do now. So a little bit closer look. So PSD 49 had a clear understanding that science relies on evidence and is also tentative. Participant relied on her definition of science, which was not common. So according to the definition of science, no, this creationism shouldn't be taught because there's no hard evidence. There's no proof or evidence that leads to this idea. Experiments have been done do not lead to this idea. Number 57, the other person, science is the study of many different content areas, but always has a basis on factual evidence. It does not run off of beliefs or step in the world of the supernatural. Science is conducted through methods that produce observable outcomes. So if we look at this person, their response to creationism question, as a Christian, I believe that creationism should be allowed just as much as evolution is allowed. But as a teacher that understands the fine line and boundaries of religion in schools, I think that allowing creationism in schools would cause more drama than is needed. I personally would prefer that discussion on topics like these be left to parents because teachers do not raise their students' parents do. Again, with intelligent design, I also believe that ID should not be allowed in schools, even though it presents another idea of God as a creator, because it causes too much drama in today's society. And then lastly, I think that all information about how life has made it to where it is today should be taken out of the curriculum. So this person is very concerned about major conflict. And so I think this is, while it was good that this person said don't have creationism and intelligent design, if you note at the very end, they even said that, well, we still need to take evolution out of the curriculum and let the parents be in charge, which is clearly not what we want. So if you do a closer look for this particular one, again, PSD 57, the participant has some understanding of science, I think you could argue, based on the data. They express concerns about possible conflict and multiple responses. And the suggestion to remove evidence from the curriculum backs this up. And then, of course, based on these responses, it seems they understand science but don't understand evolution and the supporting evidence. More data would need to be collected on their understanding of evolution, but this, we feel like, is a viable conclusion to come to. So when it comes to nature of science, our findings show polarizing perspectives and highlight the complex nature of both our cognitive understanding and our own aims and values of science. The findings further highlight the need to consider the role of social organizations and interactions, another category in the FRA model, in this case the church and the teaching of science. The impact of religious ideologies on student learning and the teaching of contentious issues, such as the theory of evolution, should be openly discussed, especially in teacher preparation programs. And how alternative views can impact the teaching of core concepts in biology. So these are all things that we need to be thinking about. So some key questions that we could consider going forward. Should our own belief system as teachers impact on the cognitive experiences of our students? And what can be done to support teachers in teaching theories of science, which may go against their own cognitive and social aims? So what else can this do for teaching? It can give us the opportunity to learn what reasoning our PSTs use to determine appropriateness of science curricula, and potentially the findings can help us better tailor our instruction in science methods courses to inform students' abilities to make distinction between science and non-science. All right. Well, again, this was been our presentation on the influence of religion on elementary pre-service teachers' perceptions of science. My name is Ian Benz, and I'm also speaking on behalf of Louise Lehane and Mark A. Bloom. Thank you very much.